What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I am so pumped to have you guys back. I'm sorry I've been slacking on all the content here. Finally was able to get a new computer. I lost a lot of footage. I have to upload a lot. I have some saved, some backed up. So it is what it is. You learn from your mistakes. But today I have some footage for you guys. I'm going to fill you in exactly what's going on with the Daily Z and practically the steps that I'm going to take to help fix this turd. What's been going on with the Daily Z for a little bit? I've been noticing whenever I'm driving, okay, I'm on the highway. It's mostly on highway driving, around 50 to 65 miles an hour. I'm getting some wheel play, a steering wheel play. I don't know what's going on. I've been getting some rattling. So deductive reasoning, I've done this before, right, on like the drift car and stuff. So sometimes it could be brake pads, sometimes it could be rotors, sometimes it could be inner ball joint, inner tie rod, outer tie rod, ball joint, or the bearing itself. So I wanted to do an in-depth video for you guys, exactly how I do my reasoning and what we can kind of eliminate from the process to see exactly what's causing this issue. It also could be a bent wheel. No idea, especially with the roads up here in Massachusetts. They can be terrible, and I do bottom out a lot. This is what the video is going to be of, is just checking out exactly what's going on. So I've been getting a lot of play on the right side of the car here, so passenger side of a USDM car. Again, it's definitely coming from this side. Also, what I've noticed is that if I'm like sitting still at a light, okay, and if I turn my wheels all the way to the right, okay, nothing really happens. But as soon as if I start to straighten out the wheel and start to move or take a turn to the left, I feel like a washing out kind of motion in this wheel. It doesn't do it when I turn all the way left and then go right. It's only if I turn all the way right and then go left. So I've been really sketched out, especially going on ramps, and I'm going right like this. I'm scared that the wheel is like washing out like that. So again, I don't really know what's going on, but we're gonna jack the car up. We're gonna do the inner and outer tie rod joint plate test. We're gonna do the wheel bearing test, and then also that lower ball joint. We'll try to get in there and see exactly what's going on. So basically you can determine a lot just by moving the wheel, just by shaking the wheel. So either towards the front and the back, you do like a quick shake, and that'll actually test out the steering components. So like that inner and outer tie rod. And then if you do a top to bottom motion by shaking the wheel like this, that's your wheel bearing, and then also possibly your ball joint. Both of them kind of test out the ball joint, because the ball joint moves in it can be able to rotate and maneuver on different angles. So that's what we're gonna get into. Let's do it. I have one side of the car jacked up. The driver's side is currently touching the ground or the ramp. This side has not. So all we're gonna do a shake on the sides, okay, from front to the car, back to the car. And that's just going to be testing the inner and outer tie rods. So basically what you're looking for is like a clunking or a popping. And I have a slight clunk, if you can hear it. So something's going on there. We're going to go up and down now for the wheel bearing. And the wheel bearing is good on this side. But something's definitely going on there. Okay guys, so on the other side now, we're gonna do the same test. So we're gonna go side to side. Okay, so interesting, this side has about the same play. So we gotta see what's going on with that. We're gonna go up and down. There's no play up and down, okay. So, good thing about no play up and down, that rules out wheel bearing, which is nice. Okay, I haven't heard any wheel bearing sounds, but me and Liddy did these about 4 years ago, so they're still holding up pretty well, so I'm pumped about that. But it is worrisome that this side is having the same exact play as the other side. So that's kind of weird. So what we're gonna do now, do our deductive reasoning. We're gonna go under the car, see what we can see moving, either the outer ball or the outer tie rod or the inner, or the ball joint. And you can always check under the car to see how the boots and stuff look under here. So as you can see, that's my outer tie rod. It is rusted, but the boot's fully intact. There's nothing leaking, okay? And then what we can do is check this boot here for the inner, and there's nothing leaking there. It's all intact. I'm also looking at my lower ball joint boot, and that looks all fully intact, okay? So what we need to do is figure this out. We need to see what's going on here. So what I'm gonna do is go have my dad come in, okay? And what he's gonna do is he's actually gonna move the wheel and shake the wheel. I'm going to look right here on this outer tie rod and with the knuckle and see if they both move continuously together, okay? I'm gonna draw a line on it with like some white nail polish or whatnot, and if the knuckle moves but the outer doesn't move, or vice versa, that means that something's wrong with the outer. Then what I'm gonna do is hold the inner here with my hand. All right, guys, so my dad just came out, helped me out. We were really trying to understand what's going on with the wheel because, again, we were shaking the wheel. I pulled both boots off. I looked at the inners, the outers, the ball joints, the wheel bearings, everything I pretty much replaced on this, and I remember replacing within at least starting from the wheel bearings from 4 years ago to everything else has been within the past 2 or 3 years. Again, I know parts fail all the time. It's man-made. It is what it is. But there's one thing I have not replaced on this front end yet. I've done all the bushings. I've done the power steering rack. I've done the inners, the outers, everything. The only thing I have not replaced is the U-joint for the steering column. And what I'm referring to is this right here. This U-joint for the steering column. So what we did as a test is I had my dad get in the car and hold the steering wheel. As he held the steering wheel, I had both wheels lifted off the ground, and what I did is I would shake the wheels, and there would still be play. But as soon as I just grabbed around and held the U-joint itself with my hand, and I had my dad move the wheel, like shake the wheel, it took up a lot of slop out of it. So we are coming to a conclusion that this is the issue here. I don't know how old this one is. I don't remember if I bought a new one for this car and whatnot. My dad's saying that we should basically just take this one off here and throw it on the daily and we'll actually be able to see. But yeah, so I'm gonna do a little bit of research now. This is a 93, that's a 92, so that is an earlier style car. So I just gotta make sure that they are all direct fit. So I wanna give you guys as much as the proper information as I possibly can. So I'm gonna do some research now. Have the car jacked up, right? So this is the drift car. Move all that old oil out of the way and peep this. Ready? I'm doing the same exact amount. Little to nothing. No clunking, no nothing. It's definitely that joint, 1000%. So it's definitely that U joint right there. So all I'm gonna do is take the one off the drift car for now, obviously, because I'm still working on it. Throw it in the daily, get a new one for the drift car. Because I did notice, and now it's like full circle. So I'm super excited about this like information for you guys. Because again, there's not a lot of DIYs on this, but also the information. So when I've drifted, okay, I would notice when I'm at angle or like full lock to wherever, where I shape the bunt stops, the wheel would do a somewhat of a wobble, like kind of a wash out, and then I'd have to catch the wheel and kind of like really find that precise line right before it would start to wobble, throw my line off. That's the reason why, is because I'm overextending this U-joint, and the U-joint is the thing that's making it sway in and out. Makes so much sense now. I couldn't believe it. My dad, I'm not even taking any credit on this, my dad found this out. He was like, is there a steering U-joint that comes down from the column? I was like, yeah. And then as soon as I put my hand on it, he shook the wheel, it stopped it. He's like, just go check the drift car real quick. See if it's actually doing the same thing. Because if it does the same thing, then maybe it's not that. Literally came right here, put the car in the air, checked it out, bang. So I'm gonna show you guys how to replace that. How you replace it is very simple. There is one bolt on the top that goes to the actual steering column itself, and then there's one bolt on the bottom that goes to the splines on the power steering rack. So now when you're doing this, this is what you really, really want to make sure is that one, your wheels are straight when you take it off and when you put it on, and you're going to want to have someone hold the steering wheel so you can actually match up to this precise spline that you want to hook this up on. A lot of people talk about lowering the subframe and doing whatnot, this and that. You actually don't need to. It's going to be a little bit of, BITCH to be able to take this off, just because there's not a lot of room to play with, but you can do it without removing anything else, just that. So as long as you take your time, you should be able to do it. So we're going to work on this one, take this one off, and then go to the daily and take that one off. It's just so crazy that, like, I've literally been losing my mind for the past, like, month, because I'm like, I have new front tires, my brakes are newer, all my bushings are brand new, the inners and outers are brand new, the wheel bearings are within a few years. I was like, I don't understand what is going on with this car. I just don't understand why something would want to wash out, and it's literally because of this U-joint. The steering U-joint is, I'm so happy that we found it out. We're gonna do it, we're gonna put it on and see how it works. Okay guys, so for some more science for you, as you can see right here on this one, see how that's kind of dented in and stuff? That's because when I was getting to max angle, what it would do, it would get caught in here and it would get stuck, and then I have to fight the wheel back and it would kind of dent that in. So as you can see, that's pretty chowed up there. And then this piece here is also kind of dented in because of the same thing. So, but besides that, okay, if you are testing this joint, you can kind of try to twist it and you should see if there's play there, which right now, there's nothing. Like this is just my hand slipping on it. There's really not. There may be a little play this way, just a little, and that you can actually feel like a little squeak in it. There's a little tiny squeak, like maybe one of the bearings is getting caught up or whatnot. But I mean, again, this feels good. It's not loosey-goosey. It actually does have some friction in there, so which is good. So yeah, this is in way better shape. I'm going to show you the one out of the daily now, and you guys, it's probably going to be mind-blowing, honestly. So I really think that whoever had the chassis, the drift car chassis before me, replaced this early on, especially with this pink outer coating here. I see a lot of the new OEM ones have this pink outer coating. So, but yeah, all right. So that's that. Let's get the one out of the daily and see what it looks like. All right, guys. So I got the OEM one off. I'm going to show you a couple tricks of how to get this off. Okay. So the original one that was on the car, okay, this part here was down on the bottom that's hooked up to the actual rack. This one was connected to the actual steering column, okay? First things first, what you're going to need to do, if it's been bolted on there for a while, it's probably rusted or whatnot, so you definitely want to get some penetration oil in there just to basically break up any of that rust. Then what you're going to want to do is grab either like a flathead or a pry bar or whatnot, and what you're going to want to do is these two edges here, you want to be careful of the splines, but you want to be able to bend these open a little bit to just break these open, because there may be some rust in there and whatnot, but it's been clamped on there so tight for so long that you really need to open up this part here and also this part here, both on the ends. Then what I did is, all you have to do is you're going to use a pry bar under this. Once you get it all loosened up and ready to go, all you're going to do is put the pry bar on the bottom end here under the screw hole, and you're just going to pry up off the rack. And then you're just going to kind of work it on each side or whatnot, and then it's finally going to pop off. Once it gets off the rack, then you're going to have to get this top piece off. This top piece is a nightmare, but I found a little trick that I just found out right now what you can do, okay? All you have to do is grab a little flathead, okay? While this is on the steering rack, or the not the steering rack, but the steering column, what you can do is it'll be able to move like this, right? All you have to do, grab a flathead, stick it right in between where the bushings are, and it's going to fit under. So basically the top of the screwdriver is going to slide on the bottom of the steering column spline, and then all you're going to do is hammer upwards from the bottom. You're going to hammer the bottom of this flathead, and it's going to go up like this, and it's going to push that steering column out up top, and then this will come right down. So that's what you want to, that's a little trick. I was out here battling. I was just trying to open this up and pull it down. There's no way you're not going to have enough force for that. So you're definitely going to need this flathead. You're going to put it right in the hole like this. You're going to hammer it up, so then it pushes the spline out. But now going off of there, listen to this. You're not going to really be able to hear it, but I can hear it and feel it. There is so much play in this. Like, stupid amount of play. It's notchy. Like, it's very bad. Very, very bad. It's this was gone for quite some time now. So, yep, that's exactly what it was. My dad was right. Okay. And then do this one.
Oh my God, yeah. Big difference.
Right? Night and day?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do. We're going to swap out the drift car one. Obviously, like I said, I'm pretty sure this is a newer one just because that pink line on there. But yeah, so we're going to swap this one out, put it in the daily, and then we're going to test it out. But that one's shot.
Yeah, you can.
All right, guys. So now when you're under the car, okay, how you're going to want to line this, the new one up, right, is as you can see right here, you see this little notch here? That's my center point. How you match your center point up is, if you still have your plastic piece, sometimes these are super brittle and they break, but you see that little arrow? That arrow should match up with that notch, and that's going to be your centerpiece on the actual rack itself, okay? So as you can see, I'm going to slide this on, match up the splines, and I want that little number 1 here, that little number 1 to match up with that little notch right there on the rack itself, right there, right above my thumb. Okay, so you want to match that up, and then again, you want something to hold the steering column, so your steering wheel flush, because as you can see, there's a part here with no splines that should like mate right in here with the center line here. All right, guys, everything's put in. Let's see what happens. Listen, nothing. Maybe just a tad, but nothing compared to before. And I'm like trying. We're in there. Perfect. There is one last thing I want to show you guys, okay? So when you're putting this on, I was under the impression, again, I didn't really remember like when I took it off and whatnot, but when I was under the impression, when we're putting these back on, you wanted the bottom of this to go all the way down against the power steering rack on the splines, all the way down. You actually don't want to. There's going to be on the power steering, coming off the power steering rack, there's a little notch that has all your splines on it. There's going to be a little cutout or a bevel around the middle of it. What you need to do is you need to make sure that this screw hole is in the middle that lines up with that bevel, because if you don't, you're gonna strip the screws out. I was trying to put this all the way down, and it's thicker on the splines lower down, so if you try to do that and then you try to screw it in, the threads on the bolt actually hit the splines. So you need to make sure that this doesn't sit, if this bottom here is the rack, you don't want it to sit flush. You want it to be off of it just a little bit, about 5 millimeters, 6 millimeters, I think. But besides that, after I figured that out, we're money, we're Gucci. Everything's good to go. She's done. I'm gonna go drive. I'm gonna feel her out, see what happens, but I highly doubt that I'm gonna have that play now or that washing out feeling when I'm driving. So awesome. I hope you guys like the DIY. Again, there are a couple little tricks that you can do. I've seen some 350Z ones that you can buy. I've seen some I think G35 ones also that you can buy that you may be able to interchange them, because the OEM ones are like $300, $360 right now on Z1, and I highly don't want you guys to spend that much money on this one U-joint. I'll do a little bit more research. I will put in the description if there are ones that I do research on and I see that they are interchangeable. I'll put that in there and a link in there so you guys get them cheaper, because obviously, I mean, like, I'm not out here making money. Like, I want you guys to come up just like me and not spend $360 on a single U-joint, steering U-joint. So, but I mean, if you want to go OEM and you got the money, do it. I mean, more power to you. But besides that, I'm super stoked. So basically the front end is pretty brand new now. I do have a ton of footage coming up for you guys, I promise you. Oxito hit me up. They gave me some more bulbs to test out, their newer headlights in high beams. So I will be doing that. a review on those. I also did finally get my turn signals with resistors in them, so we can try to figure out that resistor issue when we switch the LEDs and that light comes up on the dash. And I do have a relay that I'm going to plug in and see if that also helps, so we can get rid of that, so we look big ballin'. I also have footage that I've already filmed that I just need to upload and edit for you guys about some license plate lights, switching to LED and how to do that. It's very simple, very easy. And again, Oxito, thanks for hooking us up. But yeah, besides that, trying to get to the drift car as soon as possible. The seas, we're in July now, so I mean, I still got time. You guys need to chill. All right, stop yelling at me, chill out. All I got to do is get a clutch, a new U-joint, because I just stole that one. And then from there, just reseal the motor and the oil pan, and we out there. So I'm planning end of July is the goal. End of July, beginning of August, I'll at least get 2 or 3 events in before the season's done. And then next year will be a whole new rebuild and new stuff to come for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed the footage, okay? You guys know what to do. If you guys have not subscribed to that channel, hit that button right here. It helps me out. We're trying to reach 10K. We hit 10K, I'm telling you guys, it's going to be the biggest and best giveaway I've ever done in my life. I promise you that. And if you guys are looking for any additional content, all you have to do is click one of the links here. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.